Thank you all for coming. Now, share with us, what have you guys been going through during this season? What are some of your business transitions and the impact of COVID-19 on your business? Let's start with Danny, followed by Ken, and then Clement.
I think when COVID hit us, we were quite fortunate because we have already pivoted a few years ago towards gastro park, food park. In fact, I think you're very close to one of ours, Timber Plus at One North. And we recently opened one at Timber Plus at Singapore Expo. And we have also Yishun Park Hawker Center and a restaurant at Arts House. So in other words, we were pivoting while looking at how the F&B trends were moving. And it helped us because hawker centers and food parks were doing a bit better. The ones that really hit are the bars and the restaurants. So I would say that we are quite fortunate, but it's still a lot of work. It is, COVID has affected everyone. So we'll continue to innovate, come out with new apps, etc.
I think everyone would experience all sorts of challenges during this very trying period. For us, the group company is a logistic maritime supply chain company. So we are dealing with physical objects, right? For all of us know that during this period, those businesses that deal with especially shopfront or maybe people, physical object, usually would need to do a lot of adjustment. So for our group company, we were looking back quite fortunate that we have enterprise business continuation management, which we actually rehearse, every year. But of course, to say that that actually helped us 100%, that is not really true, because we never expect such thing as COVID and at this kind of scale. So we fine-tune that, and that really is very helpful. Whereas other subsidiary company like the one that I manage was a little bit more fortunate, and that's where we learned that going digital is very key. Cybersecurity itself, this subsidiary company that's running, is inherently digital. So all we did was suddenly everyone disappeared from the office, right? We work from home, and in fact, I would say in a way we also experienced that the business volume actually went up. Not to capitalize on a bad situation, but that's factually speaking, because more people are going digital, and then more people need that digital protection. Yeah, so in a nutshell, we experienced that the nature of business is key. Certain nature of business would be impacted negatively, certain would be positively. However, it's for us to be resilient, how we can transform and to move forward. I reckon this is the main topic of today's discussion anyway. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Actually, for our company, right, it's actually a business opportunity for us because we are currently developing a COVID-19 test kits, and it can be detected in under 30 seconds, and it can use with breath or saliva. So in this season, actually, it helps. It's an opportunity for us because it will tap into a very huge impact to every one of us, and I guess even this, because we have to collaborate with many different partners and to even tap on their talents and resources, and through even this time we have to go through like online meetings, through Zoom meetings, and that's how we can move forward.
Right, I'm sure all of you have tried implementing some form of innovative solutions in your company. Share with us what are some of the failures and what are some of the innovative solutions that were successfully implemented. All right, let's start with Danny. Yeah.
So we have to mention failures too.
Of course, so that we have some learning points, right?
I guess that's the important part, right? I'll talk about the successes first. We've got a Timber Plus app that has been doing very well. Customers can put in money into the app and use it, and it's 10% discount. So we found that very useful, even in a hawker center. People obviously want to have the best value, but that's quite common, what you call a wallet, right? E-wallet. But we've just recently launched, just yesterday, curbside multi-store delivery, which is our first launch yesterday, just went on live. And what it is that we, in a new Singapore Expo venue, we have a roll of music shops, I mean our tenants, that you can actually order online before going to Timber, and basically pick up when we tell you the food is ready. So essentially, you come in, drive in, pick up and go. And you can actually order from multiple stores all in one line. So this is actually something that we're quite excited about. Why? Because to be honest with you, I think a lot of the food delivery apps are quite expensive. The percentage is quite high. I think it's really up to us F&B companies to kind of think of what can we do, not to disrupt maybe, but just to say, okay, there's another option for our tenants. We're trying to do this for our tenants because we can lower down the percentage, because we invested in this app ourselves. So I think that's one of the reasons why we did it. But second reason is actually for the customers. I mean, it's easy now to just order on the way home or at the office, you know, and just pick up and go back home. And you can actually order nasi lemak, you can order another store, you can order stingray, you can order, and then just pick it up together. Failure, I think, I mean, thankfully, we've not encountered many of it, but one of it I remembered was when we tried to do a drone system, a drone waiter. Some of you might have read the news about what we did, and I think maybe we are just a little bit too ahead of our times. The drones as a waitering device may not be very stable right now because of external factors, wind, weather, rain. So we are still looking into that, but I think that will take a bit of time.
So it's more of pragmatic innovation for you, something for the customers, right? So you built the app. All right, fantastic.
Customers and also our tenants, because at the end of the day, they are our tenants, and if they can last longer and survive and do well, we do well. So the motivation is both.
All right, how about yourself, Ken? Successes and failures?
Yes, I think for a start, I would say that this is a very, very good question, because many people will talk about critical success factor, right? CSF. Then over the years, I start to learn that actually critical success factors best develop from critical failure factors, right? So we fail and then we learn. And to share with you very openly, we do encounter failure in a way on the same notes that we now trying to move from anything that deals with physical presence, physical object. There were two examples. At group level, we were trying to do some installation on vessel, one container vessel, one LNG vessel, and they were very interested in cyber protection. You know, on shore, if you got breach, all the expertise, all the resources is on land, right? You can get help, but in a vessel out in the big ocean, if you got hacked, it's almost similar to an engine failure of the ship. It is a very big issue. So then they want to get this installation in place. So you know, sometimes we look at the port, wow, so beautiful, but when we go there, it's such a big place. The clearance for security already take a few days, just for a few hours work to go out the ship. The time before COVID, we have done this project to satisfaction. It involves certain installation of devices on the ship. And when COVID hit, to be very upfront, we don't know what to do because we cannot go on the ship for a start. So the project, in fact, was pended for almost 2 years. And we learned that we have to transform, and we do software-only proposition after that because we can do remotely into the ship. So that is very important. And what we learn from here, and sometimes we also share that sometimes it's not a matter of just learning, but learn how to learn how we learn. So from there, we learn the learning model and develop into other areas as well. So we are trying to transform most of the maybe hybrid hardware software proposition. In a way, we start to realize the importance of software only or maybe cloud-based proposition to actually implement all this protection, rather than depending on device-based where you need to come to the site, you need physical clearance, whereby going forward, we don't know what's going to happen. Like what Rini mentioned this morning is unpredictable, right, going forward. So we really need to think about all this and consider all this, and we learn from the failure. Now, I believe by fully software-based proposition, we are much more resilient, right?
All right, how about yourself, Clement?
Yes. Okay. So, one of the success like in our company, right, is how we translate from the research stage, the technology, how we translate it into a commercial product. So, because when we found that this our company use peptides to detect the COVID virus. So we, the research, it comes out if we can detect in like 15 to 30 seconds. But how are we going to design it so that it's good for the user to use it fast and efficiently? Yeah. So how it translates is, and the success is between collaboration between the scientists in India and also a group of a team in Hong Kong. So it's the different talents, how they exchange the ideas, how they troubleshoot the design, and what are the challenges involved, and after they saw the results. Yeah. So these are the success. And one of the failures that we encountered is also for like logistic issues, because when we do teamwork with like across countries, right, we have to deliver even the samples, deliver the prototype to the countries, and it comes out to be very costly because they go through like customs and also taxes, and in the end, these are some that we face. Yeah, so it can be we can evaluate to find an efficient way. Yeah.
I see. So cross-border partnerships, dealing with internal and external stakeholders, that was quite a tough one. And the next question is, what do you think is the future of your industry and the future of work?
The future of work, future of
your
our
industry.
industry. Well, actually, we don't only do F&B. We're more than like a lifestyle company. We talk about F&B a lot, but actually, we actually started as an events management company. And one of the things that we founded was the Beer Fest Asia 11 years ago. We sold it to Singapore Press Holdings, but we're still involved as a minority shareholder. And then we also have Timber Rock and Roots, which is our partnership with Byron Bay Blues Fest. And that one we brought Bob Dylan, we brought Paul Simon, mostly legends of the music to Singapore. So the event side, I think, is very tired. Everybody's very tired doing events. So now we are here doing a hybrid event is actually very encouraging. Then I hear that there's hopefully a new test coming soon that will be 30 seconds to determine yes or no. Now, I'm a little bit more encouraged by that side, but I think one of the most difficult things to do is to motivate your workforce, your staff. Because F&B and events, they are all it's a fatigue, They thought it's going to last 1 year, it's last 2 years. So I think one of my challenges is to keep my team energized. So we've just launched Timber Plus at East Side, and everybody's asking, why are you crazy opening up an F&B in these times? But when is a good time? Nobody knows really. So what's more important is to keep the teams, the departments working with a very clear vision and mission. And I think this is the chance for a lot of companies to go back to their core values. I think this is the time, kind of like a restart button for a lot of us. So I think I highly encourage anyone who's has any company more than 5 years to really go down, talk to your staff, get them to actually express what they think is the future of the company. And that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ken?
Yes. This may sound a bit cliche, but in Chinese we call crisis 危机, right? For the English-speaking friends here, it means crisis. Within crisis, there's always opportunity, right? And of course, it's easier said than done. We have to be resilient over things that we can't control in a way. Based on the same note that I mentioned, I think then I try to classify, gone through the thought that, in my own term, I call it COVID hit businesses and COVID lift businesses, right? So amazingly, if you look at a small thing in life, now what happened, I was so astonished to see that those COVID lift businesses can be direct and indirect. I mean, the direct one is easy to see. Maybe PPE manufacturers, like glove manufacturers, sanitizer and things. Then the indirect one is very interesting. Foldable bicycles start to sell like hotcake, you know. The bicycle shops is like ka-ching, ka-ching, never stop. And I learned that because I have been converted also. I can't be a homegrown mushroom at home all the time, working from home and putting on a lot of weight already. Yeah, so then a lot more that it's very interesting to see then vet and pet shops start to also enjoying grooming business. Even more indirect is, if you can see, you know those tankless water dispenser? Start to sell very well as well because people work from home, right? No more auntie to serve drink, you know. So pouring hot water every time is very tiring. I mean, I gather this feedback from friends. So I'm citing all these examples. Is there are a lot of subtle and unseen opportunities that, again, transformation is not easy. Like what we've gone through in BH Global, I wouldn't say it's a bed of roses. If I say it's easy, I'm lying. It's tough, but you just need the grit to pull through and make it successful. So going forward, then I will sum up by seeing that we should be having this mindset that whenever we venture forward, we need to have this in mind already. We learned painfully from this experience. What if there's another new wave or new form of pandemic coming? Are we able to transform? And then transformation, I see that there are two tiers. One tier is transform digitally, meaning see whether any part of your business, not all can be transformed, but whether you can go to digital, that's within that business per se. But if we are able to see beyond that, transform businesses rather than digitally transform. One good example is BH Global is, I really respect the board's open-minded way. We're trying to solve an internal cybersecurity issue, and we stumbled upon something different, and then start selling, and they decided to spin off the IT department into a subsidiary. And wow, I was like, when they say this, I look at the whole board and say, so who is going to run? Everyone look at me, you know. But I never look back. It was tough, but I learned a lot of things. So the transformation itself is a very good learning process. But then the multi-level support is important in a way. Yeah.
Yourself, Clement?
So actually, for the future directions for our mining industry, right, is because we found this technology, and it can be a platform technology for to detect other pathogens, for other diseases, and we want to add to have the value of the speed of testing into other tests as well. Yeah. So these are like more opportunities in the future. Yeah.
So what do you think is the future of talent required for the business? Because we have to transform, right? People have to transform also, right? And upskill, right? So what kind of skill sets is required now? What do we need to know? Right, maybe we start with yourself, Danny, and then followed by Ken.
Well, actually, it's tough now because you see, everybody's poaching everybody now. As things are opening up in F&B, and I mean, some of you are shaking your head, but yeah, it's hard to keep the talent. So if people are going to leave the job because they have a better offer, then it's very hard to hold them, right? So I think what's more important is to engage with them as much as you can. And I mean, for us, so it's not just about looking for talent, it's to retain them. You know, and it's actually harder to retain them. I mean, you can have great talent, but they can leave. You know, so what's more important is that they are aligned with you, and the alignment because of stress, tiredness, fatigue, is the problem. You know, when you have problems, is where each department blames another department. It becomes toxic. It becomes a silo kind of thing. So when I took over the role, I mean, I've always been a creative person, but I took over a role recently, just 4 months ago, as CE. The first thing I did was I asked everybody, what's your problem? Let's talk about it. Let's just make sure that all the teams are all aligned. And I think that's more important about getting talent. It's not about talented people, it's about hardworking people that's willing to work with other people and general goal. Because sometimes talented people will start their own companies, So it's a balance. That's my answer.
How about Ken? You've got lots of departments in there, I'm sure. A lot of stories.
I think Danny covered the talent retention portion very well. So, of course, we have a fair share of challenge in that. But maybe to answer your question with regard to future talents, I think the young generation can adapt much better in a way. Okay, maybe I cite an example of my son. My son, when he was in JC, when he came home one day, I learned something from him. He sat down and he put his textbook in the center. He on the PC with 5 windows, and then he put on his earphone, and then he got his mobile running WhatsApp and Instagram and don't know what. So I went to them and I went to him and say, "Boy, how can you study like that? You know what he told me? He said that how to study without like that." I was shocked by his answer, but I learned from him actually. So when I took out his WhatsApp, he got teacher, don't know what, his teacher, a student group, then he got his friends. So work and play is inherently and very intertwined. And I realized that the new generation is so digital native. I mean, you see toddler flipping iPad, right? So as they grown up, these are second nature to them. And these are very COVID lift foundation to me. So in the future, if they have I think by their generation, a lot of things will be very digital, more digital than today, what we are. And I would say that inherently, it will be much more resilient than what we have today. And they will learn even more, but of course, new challenges will come in. The likes of deepfake, the likes of more advanced cyber attack, and who knows, right? I mean, we have all these organic viruses that you're dealing with. I'm dealing with digital viruses. The life can even become more complex. Hopefully, human civilization just don't reach the states of like Matrix or Terminator, but it seems like we are heading towards that direction. But then jokes aside, come back to the question is that the talent going forward is very much to be very digital, naturally, right? And also the new thought of culture in their mindset. I think the young people now the culture is they prefer a job that they can work anywhere, anytime. Right? They just have their notebook and that's it, or not even notebook, just a handphone, they can work already. I have my son into things like now doing, for example, StockX, those things, trading, and all they need is just to trade with a handphone walking around. So that thing seems to be the trend going forward for especially the young people. So Gen X like myself, I think I have a lot to learn.
Since they are more digital, right, the younger generation, do you find it easier or more difficult to engage remotely?
You mean engage them?
Yeah, remotely.
Oh, remotely, somehow, although I'm not so young, but I find that with all this remote meeting, I'm more productive. Because one press a button, I go to another meeting. No more parking problem, traffic jam problems. So last time, maybe I can do 4 meetings a day. Now I can do much more. And somehow it works for me. But I need to caveat that because we are in digital business, right? I mean, physical related business may be a bit challenging. Sometimes you need the feel and touch of things. Those kind of things will be a bit difficult. Yeah.
How about yourself, Danny? I mean, the nature of the work is quite experiential, right? So more face-to-face, and then you have to employ younger generation. Then how do you engage with them?
I mean, when I have meetings when we have meetings, working meetings, I always tell them to put the phones away, lah. Because I think at the end of the day, it's just about focusing on the actual discussion, right? But I'm not opposed to the digital. I think it's actually it makes it a lot more convenient. If I need something urgent, I need to meet them urgently and say, okay, half an hour we go Zoom. It's so much more productive to be able to do that. But you're right, there's a whole different generation right now. Most important thing is that work is work. They need to focus on the work. having Instagram, TikTok on the side is not going to be able to focus on work. Another thing is I think younger people also, in general, I don't want to generalize it too much, but they want to work for something a bit deeper. So for our side, we have a sustainability team that talks about sustainability. So our hawker centers, the one in Singapore Expo is extremely in tune with that. We've got a digester coming soon, solar panels powering our big ass fans, and we have a community growing using one kind block, which is basically a Lego style growing of plants. And then the last one we're going to do is recyclable bags that we're going to be launching with People's Association. So I think when young people look at that and say, oh, okay, I something that I'd be proud of, lah, instead of just the money, lah. I think that one I think that one is a little bit more complete. You have to be sensitive to that. I think even PR and marketing will change because of that. The PR and marketing of certain companies will change that. And DBS is really doing that. UOB is doing that. Actually, all the banks are doing that. I think they all see each other and they just kind of compete, But yeah, that's one thing. Because we've always represented a company that supports Singapore talent. Music has always been a big thing about Timber. Music then became food partners. At One North, we supported young hawkers. We were the first to say young hawkers, new generation of hawkers, incubators, stuff like that. So now sustainability is our third core value that we try to push. And young people relate to that, I think.
So value creation is really important.
Yes.
Thank you. How about Clement?
About challenges, yeah. So I guess for one of the challenges, as Vinay mentioned, is the going through regulatory approvals, and it's a long process, a lot of documentations, a lot of checks, and right now we engage like with consultancy firms. They help us with more of the info that we lack the ways, and did help us be better, yeah. And I think one of the challenges is that we working remotely is we are unable to see and feel the, even as in we can't do the testing on site, yeah. So we only can communicate ideas through the Zoom meetings, yeah.
Any questions from the floor thus far? If yes, feel free to raise your hand. We have a question here, which says, what would be one key lesson learned from COVID-19 to get ready for the next crisis? Now, let's say we have a next crisis. What would you do? How would you do things differently?
It's one of the things that it's going to be an issue for us specifically. It's actually the new rules and restrictions that keeps somewhat developing, 5 packs, 2 packs, 5 packs, it used to be 8 packs at one time. That's one. Social distancing, depending on the technology of the test that comes soon, hopefully, it will reduce that also. I think F&B is one of the most disrupted, but retail is also one of the most disrupted. Shopping centers, property management, all your capital land to your land lease, they're all scratching their head. Because if it's anything, everybody's buying from Lazada. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are buying from Lazada. I bought a foldable bike just 3 weeks ago. And sometimes you're just bored at home. What are you going to do? I'm just thinking, okay, I need to ride 10 minutes. My house is 10 minutes away from Expo. So I should buy a foldable bike, and then, just buy, and then you don't even test, you just be delivered, and then you have so much trust. But I think that's where it's going to change. The whole thing is transformed now. For F&B, I think a lot of it is how do we get people come in if the restrictions change. But more importantly, I think is the part about dealing with the landlords, to be honest with you. All the F&B and retail are basically talking to landlords. I mean, your industry is maybe a bit different, but we have a lot of what you call property space, right? So a lot of talking, a lot of negotiating. And you got to be able to negotiate, right? And you got to really, really know what you're asking for. So if there's anything, anybody who's having an F&B company or want to start an F&B company, first thing is to talk to your landlord. Make sure that it's a 5-year plan. It's no longer a 2-year plan or a 1-year plan. It's a 5-year plan. And make sure you get the best deal. I can tell you privately what the deal is, but not here. But you can negotiate a better deal, right? And that actually comes down to your costs, lowering your costs, making sure that your cash flow is steady, right? Because rental is one of the key costs, right? So yeah, short answer hopefully, but I mean summarizing.
What do you think is the impact of 5G on retail innovation? Maybe we
5G.
don't need shops anymore, right? Do you think there will be a day where we don't really need?
I think it's really happening. I mean, I hate to say this because I actually enjoy shopping. I come from a generation of Far East Plaza, Parkway Parade.
No
And
more,
I
right?
used to go to Plaza Singapore, do nothing, go there, go to the bookshop, MPH. You know, I'm almost 50 years old. You know, I like that experience, but I'm not young. The next generation of customers are younger, right? So they're so used to being on their phones, right? How do you get them to go to a shopping center? I think could be content. That means shopping centers will start thinking maybe they have to make it sustainable. Maybe they got to change one whole floor, used to be F&B or retail, to pet shops and pet lifestyle, where you can have a coffee with your dog. So they're all scratching their head. All you think now we are here talking, they're all in the office talking. What can we do now, to attract people to come out? Pet friendly is one of the key ones. So things have changed, and I mean, so it's fun. It's fun. It's quite fun because they are now scratching their head all along 20, 30 years, no problem. People are coming to buy books, coming by, Borders used to be huge. Remember Borders? HMV used to be huge. Now no more, none. Everything's on digital. So I think it's, if you're going to do F&B, that's a good opportunity to talk to like-minded progressive landlords, let's just say.
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ken?
I think first and foremost, very glad to know that we are living quite near to each other. Also in Expo side, why I say that is in relation to the cycling thing. I think at the end of the day, to answer Reni's question is about transformation. But transformation would be subclass into two, disruptive and non-disruptive type. Maybe some suggestion. I'm not in your area, not to busybody the cross sector, but I was thinking maybe non-disruptive type is, for example, like central kitchen, right? Yeah, a cloud kitchen, right? I mean that could be a very good way forward. That if anything hit, we don't depend so much on the space for people to dine in. But of course, then very hard because we are social people, right? We like to dine in and talk. Like exactly what you say, especially our generation. You ask me to go and Taobao and Lazada all the time on the screen. I think after some time, headache. I would like to shop, walk around, relax, and find and touch and feel what I want to buy, right? And the other area is, I think, is the disruptive type. Is exactly like the sensing thing, which is getting everybody very excited just now when we talk. That you can bring your own how you call it, a small thing, right? And you can test it with your breath, and in less than 15 minutes, you know whether you're positive or negative in a way. So looking forward, I think the opportunity lies in disruptive and non-disruptive transformation, and there's no choice. The word is always now is innovate, or sorry to say that, evaporate. It's just a cruel word out there. Yeah, I have no choice to say that. I mean, it sounds a bit harsh, but this is the word right now. Yeah.
That's what Ken has mentioned. I think about is to learn. We can learn from this crisis about transformation. I think it's about how we have to be adaptable to the crisis. How we able to change to a new mindset. Like even when there's a lot of different regulation restrictions, how we are able to adapt and how we're able to not be restricted to our old ways of doing things, and we need to adapt to the changing environment. That's how we can bring our business forward and not staying stagnant to the old ways. Because I'm restricted and I'll just pause. That's why I believe is we have to have a new mindset. Yeah.
Any question? Just time for one question. Any question from the floor?
Besides digitalization, which we all know is important, what else? What other adjustments you think we need to make in terms of the businesses moving forward? I think we know to digitalize is very important. Everyone knows that now, especially after this pandemic. But besides that, what else we need? What is the next most important thing we need to adjust?
Okay, put digital transformation aside, it's business transformation. So, of course, again, I say that it's not easy. However, I believe that in any business, there is a related domain and knowledge you know better than other people because of your core business. And probably sit down and analyze the branches to sub-businesses that potentially can give you that transformation and identify that transformation area that may be, who knows, it's a COVID lift kind of business. Yeah, so no need digital transformation in this context. I think some of the very interesting, a friend of mine who was very hard hit because his wife is running a bridal shop. And you know, bridal shop is very hard hit. When he hit, the business volume basically dropped to zero, right? And you know, he was quite smart. He branched out to do baby products. And at least sustain, not fantastically well business, but at least it is a business that sustained him over that period before the bridal and all those come back again. Yeah, so that business transformation portion probably will be quite universally applicable to any business domain. Definitely, there are related business that branch out that you can think of that could help in a way.
Clement, I mean, you guys have a peptide-based product, and currently it is being produced wherein you could detect COVID in a matter of a few seconds, 15 seconds, right? 15 seconds. Now, once COVID is over, let's say we fight COVID, no more COVID. What's next? That's innovation, right? So what's next? Yeah.
Yes. So what's next is we are using this as the platform technology, and because we are also looking into other research in cardiology, even in other pathogens, and we are looking to detect it in also in a fast way, and that's the future direction. Yeah.
So basically, diversification of the products
Yes.
horizontally. Then
Yes.
how about Danny yourself? What's next? You know, now you changed the model, and then you've got your hawker centers and food parks, and yeah.
I think among the three of us, my business is probably the most social one because, you know, I mean, you go to a hawker center, you go to a food park, you eat, right? You talk to your friends. So for us, we don't want to innovate and transform for the sake of it. One example would be how people are doing virtual concerts now. You know, because of COVID, everybody is at home. So you open your laptop, watch a concert. Only BTS, Coldplay, and U2 will probably sell a lot of tickets. And there's some K-pop, and maybe, you know, the Eagles can sell a lot.
That's why they appear in Shopee and Lazada, right? The BTS and whatnot, right?
Well, the BTS appears everywhere, but take BTS out of the question. There are other bands that can probably sell tickets, but it doesn't apply to everyone. So you spend 50, 100,000, 200,000 on this technology, and then you only sell 100 tickets. So I think transforming, for me anyway, is a balance. It's really about surviving, actually. A lot of us is really in the food business, about surviving this period of time and thinking when the floodgates open again, and what do we do to then retain our customers. Some of it is nothing to do with technology, better quality of service, better events, better content. For example, the one at Singapore Expo, we're going to have dance classes, we're going to have yoga. Well, just before you eat, you have yoga class, you can go and eat.
Person?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what?
In person or
Yeah,
virtual?
yeah. Well, we are working on that now because now they are loosening on the restrictions.
Ken seems interested.
Yeah, we will do it together. But you know, but the thing is, that's pretty traditional, right? I mean, yoga classes, dance classes, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work, right? So I think it's a balance between because once the floodgates open and tourists comes back, they want to do something. Technology may not cover that gap.
So there's creativity here.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's give them a round of applause to our panelists. We've come to the end of this panel.